Hi, this is Jan Ramirez and welcome to Inspirational Talks, where we find inspiration from life experiences told by inspirational people. Today, we're going to talk about how a healthcare worker in Ontario copes with depression. But let's talk about depression. What is it? According to Dr. Daniel Mueller, depression is an abnormal state.
It's not just being sad. Depression really means it goes beyond to the point that people, for example, can no longer function. They can no longer go to work. They can no longer pursue their studies. They can often also not pursue their relationships. And that often puts a significant burden in the relationships to their partners or to co-workers or to friends and families alike.
Mueller is a psychiatrist at the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto. He's mostly focused on mood disorders, including depression, bipolar disorder, and anxiety disorders, which also includes post-traumatic stress disorders. So what causes depression?
Well, there is, we believe, a genetic component, a predisposition to it. And if, however, no life events may happen, no negative things may happen, you might not get depressed in your life. But if you have a high genetic risk and now you have also negative life events on top of that, you're more likely then basically to develop depression, right? So it's a combination of both.
Mueller says there are ways to know if a person is depressed. One is the ability to function on a daily basis. Second is how much a person is able to enjoy pleasurable things like being with friends. Third is how a person can concentrate.
Depressed people have a lot of negative thoughts in their mind. Typically, we call it rumination. They think and probably overthink things all the time in a very pessimistic way. And so they're blocked. They cannot really, that's why I'm saying that this interferes with functioning, of course, but that basically means that, they can't focus on anything else anymore.
Poor sleep and loss of appetite are also indicators of a person who's depressed. But for Jane, who requested anonymity, she remembered having suicidal thoughts. She arrived in Canada in 2011 to work as a caregiver, leaving behind her young sons in the Philippines. Her youngest child became upset with her.
I could still remember going on our way to the airport. On a 5-year-old mind, he asked me, Mama, why do you need to leave us and take care of other kids while we're here that needed you most? So when I came here, he didn't talk to me for 3 months. After my work, I just go to the basement and just try to reach them through Skype, but then my youngest would not talk to me. That went for 3 months, and then eventually saying hi behind the camera or behind the video. But being away with them for 6 years, it's kind of hard.
Despite the gradual highs and lows from her youngest son, she says she could not deal with the guilt. She didn't know that she had depression until she went to a doctor.
So I went to the doctor, and the doctor referred me to another doctor, and then probably at that time they say I think you're going through depression. So that's how I knew, because I don't believe it I am going through with that one. That is when I discovered that I am having a depression.
According to Mueller, there are ways to cope with depression, and biology comes into the function of a person's behavior.
It's a little bit like saying, you have diabetes, a mild diabetes, let's say, you don't really need insulin at this point of time. But if you exercise a lot, you can yourself make, a better metabolize sugars because your muscle will work better and your liver will work better if you exercise a lot. And that's basically how the biology comes into at the function of your behavior. I'm actively exercising, so it's my thought, it's my will, and it's my motivation, and it will eventually affect my biology. And that's very much the same in depression. If I stop thinking about negative things, and there are techniques to learn about that, it will also affect my biology. So first of all, therefore, it's good to have some psychological assistance, some psychotherapy if you want. That can sometimes even be sufficient to treat, milder to moderate cases.
Jane was advised to take antidepressants. She took some, But because of the adverse reaction, she stopped. She found a different way of coping with depression: painting.
It's a coping mechanism for me. Just to get through like a long day at work, just to distress sometimes. And when I do painting, it brings me to a different, like my own world, like expressing my emotions through my art.
She says her sister, Jonah, also not her real name, supported her since the beginning.
Being away from like your family, and in Canada you have a community, or you also have a sibling. It's a very different situation having her, and she supported me. She when I started my painting, she buys my materials, whatever I need. That before she would like, okay, come on, let's go to that store, just pick up whatever you need. And she supported me all along until now.
Jonah says she would spend her weekends with Jane.
I really spend time with her. Like, I'm trying hard what to do. Prayer is very powerful. The second is I will spend time with her. And we went to somewhere else, to friends here, also in a mall. And we go out for like dinner or lunch.
Jane says she started with just small canvases and eventually went on to paint flowers and landscape sceneries on bigger canvases. She gives most of her paintings to friends, while the rest are sold or displayed in her living room or at a nearby store.
There is a colleague of mine that they opened a store, and these colleagues of mine trust my work, and they love it, and I'm so happy. And they provided me a wall for my paintings, and some of it were sold already. Yeah, and I'm so happy, and people are so proud of me as well, like to what I have accomplished now. And you know, that makes me so grateful that I have this talent, and for sure, like, to God as well. I'm so thankful for giving me this talent to share it with people who also like love arts.
When asked about how she is now, she says she still has her lowest moments, but she tries to do something that will occupy her mind. This is Jan Ramirez for Inspirational Talks.